The deadliest weapon in the world is a Marine and his rifle. General John J. Jingleheimer Pershing. Well, with all due respect to the General, I feel that I must disagree. You see, the most dangerous thing is a sailor and their own two hands. I mean, why else would the Navy be constantly telling them what they can and can't do with them? Don't touch that. Don't touch her. Put those down. Pick that up. And sailors absolutely know how dangerous these knife hands can be, which is why they're always trying to keep them sheathed in their pockets. But as it turns out, junior sailors aren't the only ones who erroneously operate their opposable appendages so obstinately, as you'll observe in today's Rhyme of the Modern Mariner. This suave swabby is U.S. Navy Captain Oliver Hazard Perry, known for his stellar victory at the Battle of Lake Erie in September 1813 and his natural gift of branding and logo design. And this bar of chocolatey toffee is Marine Captain John Heath. Unfortunately, there are no portraits of him, but he was described by Midshipman Alexander Mackenzie as, quote, a good-natured, rather fat, unmilitary-looking, and exceedingly indolent man, who wore his hands in his pockets on the quarterdeck and his hat on one side, less with a view, apparently, of annoying the captain than for the comfort of being at his ease, end quote. So, there you go. Something to keep in mind here is that while both men bear the title captain, a Marine captain is 3 ranks below that of a naval captain. Why, you may ask? Well, because just like nearly everything bad in the world at the time, it was England's fault. That's how they did it. And when America decided to make a new country and a new navy,
with blackjack and hookers,
they kept the same rank structure. Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if it is broke, don't fix it. The proper Navy way. Captain Perry had one of them swingin' personalities, though. Not like the Key Party swingin', although maybe there wasn't a lot of research of his kinks. But in terms of attitude, either he was far too lenient on subordinates, or he would fly off the handle in a rage. Both approaches had a tendency to come back and bite him in the poop deck, but nothing as bad as the incident. It's the Second Barbary War, and the U.S. Navy's off the coast of Pastaland flexing their new 74-gun flagship, the USS Washington, and it was accompanied by the Nina, the Pinta, and the Oh wait, that's not right. Hang on a second. Here we go. The sloop of war, USS Erie, and 3 frigates, the redundant USS United States, the sparkling USS Constellation, and the delicious USS Java. Perry commanded the Java, while the Constellation was commanded by Captain Charles Gordon, Perry's brother from another rudder. It was a good thing he was there, because he was the only person around who could calm Perry and help him see things in a rational and responsible light. Oh, dang, he dead. Great, so Perry is sad and super sensitive right now and certainly doesn't need his day ruined further. Enter stage left. A Marine on watch, looking like a ditty bag of moldy cottage cheese. What is a commanding officer to do with this? Why, report it to the Marine's captain, of course. However, Heath's inaction to discipline his Marines, compounded with his constant disheveled look, prompted Perry to write a scathing review in his officer's efficiency report, stating thus:
the general deportment of Captain Heath towards me, so contrary to the usual address of my officers, and moreover, his marked insolence to me in many instances, induced me to believe that his conduct proceeded from a premeditated determination to insult me.
In other words, Perry believed that Heath was going out of his way to be a dickhead, instead of considering for a moment that maybe he was born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Sometime in the evening, 2 jarheads must have really wanted some gelato, because they jumped ship and started swimming to shore. The watch noticed a couple ugly-ass trash bags doing a doggy paddle and alerted Captain Perry, who in turn sent for Captain Heath to up and at him as well. Some poor enlisted man had to look Perry in his chiseled face and tell him that Captain Heath would not be joining, because he was indisposed in his cabin.
Get the fuck out of my room! I'm playing Minecraft!
Even though Heath did eventually drag himself up to the deck and begrudgingly muster his Marines, when he was asked who was missing, this man actually gave the whole seaman shrug. Pretty fed up with the insubordination, Perry then and there ordered Heath below deck, informing Heath that he was relieved of his duty on board the Java. Only problem, Heath was appointed by the Secretary of the Navy, meaning Perry had no power to remove him from position.
You have no power here.
A couple days later, after blowing off some steam in Port Messina, sipping on wine, eating blood oranges, and doing whatever it is officers do, probably wearing a polo tucked into khaki shorts, Perry returned to his cabin to find a letter.
Sir, on the evening of the 16th instant, I was ordered below by you from the quarterdeck with these words, or to that effect: I have no further use for your services on board this ship. I have waited till this moment to know why I have been thus treated, and, being ignorant of the cause, request my arrest and charges. Very respectfully, John Heath.
Oh, hell no. Perry called the Marine Detachment's second-in-command, Second Lieutenant Park G. Howell, to come to his cabin with Captain Heath to discuss this straight-up bullshit.
Captain John Heath, consider yourself under arrest.
Very well, sir.
Be silent.
Very well, sir.
I said silent.
Very well, sir.
Oh, shit, there it was! The reason sailors and Marines keep their deadly hands in their pockets, to avoid this very incident. Second Lieutenant Howell was able to restrain the men forming this soup sandwich, preventing any more potential damage. The incident occurred inside the captain's private cabin between two men and a witness, so of course, the entire ship knew about it immediately. This was also during a time without computers or phones. Even the telegraph wouldn't be invented for another 15 years, so of course, Big Navy back at Washington knew right away. Perry understood what he had done and set out to apologize by way of letter to Heath, probably signed with a kiss and spritzed with new cologne that he got in port. Heath discussed the letter with his fellow hive-mind Marine officers, who all believed that the ship's captain slapping Heath was more of an insult to the entire Marine Corps than Heath's blatant disregard of his chain of command, military bearing, or well-being of his enlisted Marines. You know, the officer thought process. In order to curtail any more issues, the two captains were separated for the rest of the voyage. Once back stateside, a court-martial convened on New Year's Eve because in the Navy, fun is secured. As the gavel came down, both captains were sentenced to hard labor. I'm sorry, I can't even keep a straight face. They were both given slaps on the wrist and sent on their way. Oh, but it doesn't end there, folks. About 6 months later, Heath, who is now a civilian, did the 1800s equivalent of a vet yelling at their iPhone in their 32% APR truck. He wrote a pamphlet about the incident, calling Perry all sorts of mean things and talking mad smack about him. This was a whole 2 years after the slap. Heath held on to that grudge harder than he held his Marines accountable for jumping ship. Perry responded in kind, and the two men decided to have an all-out duel in New York. On October 19th, 1817, they made it all the way to Hoboken, New Jersey. What are you gonna do? The captains met, accompanied by their hydro homies. With Perry, Lieutenant Stephen Decatur. With Heath, Lieutenant Roberts M. Desha. Perry and Heath stood back to back, took 5 paces and wheeled on each other. Heath fired, and true to his pizza box chest candy, missed the shot. Without a word, Perry handed his unfired pistol to Decatur and left. Decatur informed Heath and his companion that Perry never intended to fire. He asked Heath if his honor was satisfied. He said yes, and that was that. Woo, that was exciting! I'd like to say a huge thank you to Petty Officer Martin for voicing Captain Perry, and Airman Finari is the voice of Captain Heath. Thank you also to all my patrons over on Patreon who are making this series possible. I love y'all. And remember, if you ain't ordnance, you're probably smarter than me.